Hi, my name's Eric, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my favorite songs of the 2010s. In case you haven't watched my last two videos on my favorite songs and albums of 2019, which you should, I'm going to give my sort of usual disclaimers about my list videos. This is just a personal subjective list, it's not supposed to be a best of list, so I know it's pretty much inevitable that there are going to be comments saying, "Where is blank? This list is invalid without blank," but that sort of comment is kind of tired in my opinion, and I know it really is just a way of you saying this is what's on my list, so I would really love to see you post your own list of your favorite songs of the decade in the comments down below. Also, inevitably, there are going to be songs that I really loved in the 2010s that didn't make it onto this list, so I will post a link to a Spotify playlist in the comments and or description down below and add in some extra songs that didn't make it into my top 50. And I just wanted to point out again, the rank isn't all that important, it's really just that a song was on here that tells you that I really love it. Before I get to the list, please subscribe to be here when I post new videos every week. I'm going to be talking about my favorite albums of the 2010s next week, so hit the notification bell if you would like to be here right when that video is posted. So without further ado, my number 50 song of the 2010s is Talk Me Down by Troye Sivan. Like much of Troye Sivan's music, Talk Me Down feels tender and pained in a way that feels shared privately between him and the listener alone. Number 49 is Kiss It Better by Rihanna. This is one of Rihanna's many rock star moments with a nice balance of rock throatiness and art pop dreaminess. Number 48 is 17 by Sharon Van Etten. Like I said in my video on my favorite songs of 2019, 17 is an instant classic. Sharon Van Etten's vocals are raw and powerful, and the bridge is unforgettable. Number 47 is Retrograde by James Blake. When the synth hits on the chorus, my soul leaves my body. That is all. Number 46 is Begin Again by Taylor Swift. I know All Too Well is going to be the song that ends up on a lot of lists, and for very good reason, but the sense of regret and hesitant renewal is what makes Begin Again my personal favorite Taylor Swift song. Number 45 is Summer's End by John Prine. John Prine is a folk music legend, and if this masterpiece of a song that he wrote nearly 50 years into his career doesn't stab you in the heart, you might be a monster. Number 44 is Thinkin' About You by Frank Ocean. This is one of the defining songs of one of the defining artists of the decade. It's casual but dreamlike, sly but starry-eyed, a fitting portrait of 2010's youth culture. Number 43 is Let It Happen by Tame Impala. This is another decade-defining song and an 8-minute psychedelic journey whose impact can still be felt on the charts nearly 5 years later. Number 42 is Cranes in the Sky by Solange. It's artful and open like a glass sculpture or a mosaic of painful moments that add up to a really beautiful statement. Number 41 is Girlfriend by Nao. This song makes you wait for the drop, and then when you get it, it happens 3 times on the chorus, each time with increasing intensity. This is a gigantic song. Number 40 is My Baby Don't Understand Me by Natalie Prass. The longing in Natalie Prass's distinctive airy voice over some of the most formidable orchestrations in any chamber pop in the 2010s makes for a very powerful listening experience. Number 39 is Merry-Go-Round by Kacey Musgraves. This song is a display of Kacey Musgraves' ear for wordplay and eye for biting observations, delivered with a unique empathy that's been present in all of her music. Number 38 is Bad Girls by MIA. MIA is an icon, and Bad Girls is one of the most recognizable and quotable bangers of her career. Number 37 is Super Bass by Nicki Minaj. I could rap the whole thing, but I'll spare you. Number 36 is Drone Bomb Me by Anohni. The shift from piano-based singer-songwriter music to apocalyptic experimental pop was unexpected, but Anohni channeled her instinct for desolation and loss beautifully. Number 35 is The Mother We Share by Chvrches. Chvrches nicely mediate accessibility and originality on one of the defining electropop songs of the 2010s. Number 34 is Cyber Stockholm Syndrome by Rina Sawayama. This is a 90s R&B influenced jam about online loneliness that I have listened to an unhealthy number of times. It is just so good. Number 33 is Delirious by Suzanne Sunfer. Just when you think this song couldn't get any bigger, it gets bigger. It's dramatic and menacing and will have you feeling like you're in a synth pop Phantom of the Opera. Number 32 is Laura by Bat for Lashes. One of the most gorgeous piano ballads of the decade is about friendship and what happens when the party's over and everyone's gone home and you're left alone. Number 31 is Movies by Wise Blood. This was my 2019 song of the year, and it's an indescribably gorgeous slow burn. Number 30 is Everything is Embarrassing by Sky Ferreira. It's timeless in that it captures youthful angst, the push and pull between a sincere ache and cool indifference in a way that has been relevant for multiple decades and that will continue to ring true in the future. Number 29 is Drew Barrymore by SZA. One of SZA's favorite lyrical themes is how relationships can leave a person feeling empty and alone, and her handling of that theme on Drew Barrymore is revelatory and intimate. Number 28 is Telephone by Lady Gaga featuring Beyonce. So the song might have come out in 2009, it might have come out in 2010, but regardless, it's one of the most colossal collaborations in recent memory. Number 27 is Keep Running by Taeshi. Yay, mortality! This is a song in the spirit of something like Björk's Hyper Ballad, a very large art pop song with equally sad lyrics. Number 26 is Midnight City by M83. You're never going to confuse this song with any other. It is one of a kind and left an indelible mark on pop music production. Number 25 is Desafío by Arca. Arca had a hand in many wonderful experimental pop projects in the 2010s, but after taking Björk's advice to use her own voice in her music, she made one of her boldest statements yet on Desafío, a catchy and celestial song. Number 24 is Track 10 by Charli XCX. This just might be the charliest of Charli XCX's songs. It's an ear-grabbing hook delivered through glitchy production and a daring and climactic song structure. Number 23 is King Kunta by Kendrick Lamar. This is actually the song that got me into Kendrick and made me aware of his greatness as a lyricist and skillfulness as a rapper. Number 22 is Into You by Ariana Grande. Ariana was like, I'm going to take a reference to Mariah and a reference to Elvis and squeeze my way into this canon of great musicians with one of the most face-meltingly huge bangers of the century. Number 21 is Countdown by Beyonce. Speaking of songs that are so huge they'll melt your face, Raiders of the Lost Ark style, this is another one of them. The horns are perfection. Number 20 is Rolling in the Deep by Adele. Another huge and deservingly iconic song from an artist who made pop soul ballads the sound of sincerity in the 2010s. Number 19 is Louis Takes Off His Shirt by Owen Pallett. The sound of this song is as big as the dance pop that was coming out around the same time as this song, but with strings instead of synths to convey a sense of excitement and danger. Number 18 is Slip Away by Perfume Genius, a transcendent and powerful song and a prototypical example of what great art pop sounds like. Number 17 is In Heaven by Japanese Breakfast. Surprisingly upbeat compared to its lyrics, the verses are specific and open up to a universalized chorus about love and grief. Number 16 is Stone Milker by Björk. After Biophilia, an album with her largest scope yet, Björk invited us into her mind during a tumultuous divorce with this elegiac and sensitive song. Number 15 is Death with Dignity by Sufjan Stevens. Whereas emotional moments were marked by big horns or synths on Illinois and Age of Odds, the quietness and smallness of this song are what make it especially devastating. Number 14 is Sprawl 2 Mountains Beyond Mountains by Arcade Fire. Perhaps one of the most surprising art pop tracks of the 2010s came from one of its most influential indie rock bands. The scope and energy of this song warrant its name. Number 13 is Oblivion by Grimes. This song was ahead of its time, and the vision of basically a bedroom pop producer to create such a dark, complex, and brave song is astounding. Number 12 is Best to You by Blood Orange featuring Empress of. Dev Hynes is one of the defining producers of the 2010s, and Best to You, in my opinion, is his crown jewel. Number 11 is Chandelier by Sia, the song that announced Sia's arrival to the mainstream and preeminence as a writer, a vocalist, and a pop visionary. Alright, we have arrived at my top 10 favorite songs of the 2010s, and number 10 is Manchester by Kishibashi. Manchester is one of my favorite songs of all time. It is climactic and driven by Kishibashi's recognizable string arrangements, much like the Owen Pallett track I talked about earlier. It combines many of the things I love the most in music, including a massive art pop chorus and lyrics about mortality. Number 9 is Sapokanakan by Joanna Newsom. This is more than a story song. It's a deconstructed and reconstructed history of New York, told through references to specific locations and events, as well as literary works such as Percy Shelley's conveniently similar-sounding Ozymandias. The lyrics on their own are a great work of literature and must be read. Number 8 is Cruel by St. Vincent. I don't know much about guitars, but I feel like I know enough to say that the riff on this song is amazing. The interwoven moments of otherworldly buoyancy and indie rock swagger are peak Annie Clark and explain why I've listened to this song an ungodly number of times. Number 7 is 2 Weeks by FKA Twigs. The first time I heard this song, I was deceived by Twigs' ethereal voice and the ghostly production because this song is aggressive. Pull out the incisor, give me 2 weeks you won't recognize her. Like, oh my god. It's a siren song and a very original take on seduction. Number 6 is Run Away With Me by Carly Rae Jepsen. I've indoctrinated a solid number of people into the Carly Rae cult with this song, which is no surprise because it's so explosive and infectious. I remember the first time I heard Run Away With Me in a hotel lobby shortly after Emotion was released, and I was like, is that Carly Rae Jepsen? And then I went home and listened to the song and have never recovered. Number 5 is Dancing on My Own by Robyn. This is the blueprint for much of the great pop of the 2010s, including Run Away With Me, because it's a celebration of yearning, longing, wanting, and desiring. And the fact that it's a dance pop song isn't dissonant with that message. Robyn embraces sadness and is invigorated by it as it propels her to the heights of one of the greatest pop songs ever written. Number 4 is Ribs by Lorde. You didn't think you could go that long without a song about mortality. Ribs is one of the very few songs that I just knew I loved on first listen. I literally only listened to the iTunes preview and felt so overwhelmed that I bought it immediately. I adore Ribs. Number 3 is Holocene by Bon Iver. This is the song that sparked my love of indie folk and specifically my interest in indie music that was beautiful, strange, and ethereal. Even when you crack open the overwhelming instrumentation to read the lyrics, they're still shrouded in mystery. And yet they speak to our shared melancholy and nostalgia in a way that's as bittersweetly celebratory, really, as Dancing on My Own. Number 2 is Video Games by Lana Del Rey. Beyond its merits as a vivid and heartbreaking story in and of itself, Video Games not only had a huge role in spawning a new subgenre and subculture of pop music, but also in shaping the sound of pop music for much of the 2010s. And the fact that it was so hard to choose just one Lana Del Rey song for this list speaks to how influential she has been not only on the industry, but also on me personally. My number 1 song of the 2010s is Your Best American Girl by Mitski. Musically and culturally, this song channels the many complicated feelings of the last decade into the most cathartic, volcanic expression of desire and alienation of the 2010s. Mitski scrapes up the residue left by heartbreak and with a balance of concision and drama, intimacy and universality, softness and brashness, delivers my song of the decade. So that is my list, and as I said earlier, I'm very interested to see what your favorite songs of the decade were, so please drop them in the comments down below. Please subscribe to be here when I post new videos every week. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you next week for my video on my favorite albums of the 2010s, and until then, that's it.